Alright, so this is just my first impressions of Yookah Laylee. I'm going to try not to spoil too much of the game. These are just my first impressions of how I feel about the title thus far. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, let's get into the first impressions. So, essentially, this game plays like it plays like the Donkey Kong Country sequel you'd really want, but we never got. I know some people say Donkey Kong Country Returns. Donkey Kong Country Returns doesn't feel like a Donkey Kong Country game. It's Retro's take on a Donkey Kong Country game, but it doesn't feel like a Donkey Kong Country game. This game does, like, very much so. You've got the super jump. You've got, like, the way the ropes swing is very Donkey Kong Country-esque. You know, how you can pick up items and throw them is very Donkey Kong Country-esque. It's just, the game is just very kind of Donkey Kong Country-esque. But then they kick it up a notch because they add a little something that I like to call the overworld of the game, where essentially in the overworld of the game you don't have to deal with it becomes more of a puzzle game. So it basically combines the best parts of a 2D and a 3D action adventure platformer, while giving you enough to really make it seem cool. You've got the super jump, the the old-fashioned super jumps in there. So basically everything you really want to know is in there, which I love. So with that being said, I'm going to cut this part out because it's a spoiler. I'll tell you about how I feel about the game beyond that point. Some of the mechanics and stuff like that. My impression of the mechanics and such. So, so here's the overworld, and this part of the game is very puzzle-oriented. Like, you're pushing blocks, you're using your elemental abilities to... Sorry, a little bit tired. Your elemental abilities to basically to do all types of cool things. It's really an interesting aspect. I'm not going to show any footage of that, but it's there. Basically, the dichotomy between the 2D and 3D gameplay sections really changes up the game. 3D overworld is puzzle based. The 2D normal gameplay sections is more classic platforming, that type of thing. And that's a good thing. That doesn't bother me. I'm not bothered by that section. So, and you're collecting things. You've got 5 things you've got to collect, kind of like the Kong letters were in Donkey Kong Country. I'm kind of upset that you can't use Laylee as a power-up, but it kind of makes sense because, Laylee is a small bat. I mean, what the hell would she do? But whatever. But aside from that, yeah, the gameplay mechanics. One of the interesting aspects of the game is you have this thing called tonics, which you had in the first game. And tonics basically enable you to use little special abilities. In this game, they don't just give you access to special abilities, but they also give you the ability to modify your game score. And doing this basically nets you modifies how many feathers you get, quills, if you will, which are basically the currency in the game. Well, one of the currencies in the game. There's different types of currency in the game, and quills are one of them. So yeah, overall, my thoughts about this game is pretty damn good. Is it perfect? I mean, perfection is a harsh sell. Is it fun? Yes. So if you're looking for a game that basically kind of feels like the next level of Donkey Kong Country from the people who originally made Donkey Kong Country, and not, the second stringers for that, this is for you. So with that being said, that's the end of this video. I'll get into upcoming events after the cut. So here's what's coming up. Basically this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be doing a podcast talking about basically what we want from Nintendo's next hardware. We will also be talking about where do we think certain aspects of gaming are going. And the reason we're talking about this is because, Sony and Microsoft are coming out with their new shit next year, and basically we're gonna have another, the generations are gonna change yet again. So where do we go from there? And we're gonna talk about that. We're also gonna talk about some other things, some other news stories. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. This Saturday, 7:30 p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So look forward to that. If you want to reach the channel, you can reach me at mrredfoxbsbusters@gmail.com or on Twitter at MatthewWesley at mrredfox91. I also have a Discord. The Discord will be in the description, so you can reach me on Discord. If you want to be a part of the Discord, just send me a comment section, and you too can be a part of the BS Busters Discord. So with that being said, that's the end of the podcast. The video. And rate, comment, share, subscribe.